Okay, I've been getting tons of questions about my rogue build on stream the last few days, and I've finally done enough testing to bring you a rogue build that is quite literally invincible, destroying enemies over 25 levels higher than me with ease. Unlimited self-healing, crazy burst damage in single target and AoE, unlimited crowd control, high mobility. You literally can do it all. As you can see from these clips, I'm absolutely destroying everything, and I'm going to break down just how I do it right now. By the way, if you want a full written description of this build, you can check out the link in the description below to head on over to Mobilytics to get a full in-depth guide on this build start to finish, including the brand new integration of their Paragon Board. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in game right now, and I just want to quickly break down our legendary aspects and our skills and passives, talents, everything like that. This isn't going to take too long. There will be timestamps if you want to check it out. So starting things off with our helmet, this is probably the most important thing. Using the Stolen Vigor legendary aspect is so strong, and a lot of people they don't use it. They use things like Disobedience. Man, this talent is incredible. It's pretty much like having a healing potion active on you at all times 24/7. That's pretty much what this is. What it is it heals you per second for each stack of momentum on, which there's up to 3 stacks. And if you have 130, which I have, stack that times 3, it'll be about 390 healing per second. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, in the description, we have the Mobilytics link for all the stat priorities, everything like that. So if you're interested, make sure to go check that out. Now, moving on, after the headpiece, we're going to go with the Disobedience, obviously, on our chest piece. It's very good damage mitigation, 24%. Don't forget, when you're on your chest piece, make sure on your stats, you want to try to get as much damage reduction as possible. We have 20% damage reduction from close enemies, 7% damage reduction overall. Very strong defensive chest piece right here. Really solid. Right now, I have Grasp of Shadow on the gloves. I haven't really found any gloves that I love yet. Grasp of Shadow isn't bad. It's a decent placeholder. This is what I'm rocking right now. If I can get one that's a really high roll with 3 ranks to core skills, you know, some really high lucky hit chance on it, it could be really good. So Grasp of Shadow isn't bad because of how often we'll be using Twisting Blades. Moving on, obviously on our pants, you want to make sure you have damage mitigation again on your stats. Damage reduction from close, damage reduction overall. I mean, just from my chest piece and my pants, these 2 pieces are stacked with damage mitigation, which allows me to survive incredibly high tiers very easily. As you can see from the clips earlier, we were doing Nightmare Dungeons 25, 26, 27 levels above me, and I'm tanking 4, 5, 6, 7 elites at once just standing there. So if you can't take a hit, you'll die in one shot, and then you can't deal any damage. So number 1, focus on defense. Make sure that's rounded out. Then for our boots, I love the Penitent Greaves. These are my favorite boots in the game. I use these with almost every single build for every character. It's so good for applying crowd control. It's great for slowing down enemies if you want to kite the movement speed, the evade movement speed. It's a fantastic piece of gear. If you could pick up a Penitent Greaves, definitely pick them up. We have alternate legendary aspects in the link below. Check those out. Then, obviously, when it comes to our two-handed weapon, we're going to be putting a Twisting Blades aspect on there. I only have the imprint version on there. I actually have a really high roll. I just can't do it yet because I don't have the resources. I have a max roll Twisting Blades that I can put on there, which could be insane damage, but I can't actually put it on there because I don't have the materials for it. But slap that Twisting Blades on there. It is your number 1 damage increase in the entire game for this build. Slap it on there. Obviously, we're focusing on core skill damage. We're wearing a crossbow because bows give long distance damage. We don't need any of that. Damage to close enemies. Critical strike damage with imbued is okay, but it's better than nothing. 4 out of 5 of these are really strong. So overall, it's a pretty damn good crossbow. On our neck, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to try to grab damage reduction from whatever it is your build is, whether it be close range or distant, whatever. We have 17.1 damage reduction, energy cost reduction, healing received, which is going to help us greatly with our momentum healing right here off our Stolen Vigor. Cooldown reduction. This is an insane neck piece for this build. It fits perfectly. It's probably like a god tier neck piece, I'm not gonna lie. Now, getting into our Wrathful Hearts. Your attacks have a 10% chance to apply all imbuement effects. I like using this over the other one. I think it's called the Barber. I'm not sure, but having a chance to apply all your imbuement, that is chill, poison, and shadow imbuement, 10% of the time, every single time you attack, that is insane, which is, it is absolutely out of control. It's so good for single targets, knocking down elites, mowing down enemies. It is phenomenal. Greatly helps the rogue out. Next up, we have our rings. Damage to close, critical strike chance is a big one. Maximum health is a big one. Overall damage is a big one. These are really, really important stats. Very, very strong on here. Killing a vulnerable enemy gives us 50% increased energy regen. So pretty much we're full energy all the time. After that, we have our Vicious Heart in here. Honestly, I don't love this one. I wish I can get a blue socket ring that's really good. I can't find one. It's one of the biggest pain in the asses this season is trying to roll really good stats and then really good item level and then a really good color that you desperately need. I wish I can have a blue one. It is what it is. Another one of the alternative for the hearts would be the Caged Heart of the Tempting Fate, which is critical strike damage is increased by a crazy amount, but your regular attacks deal a little bit. I actually haven't tested this out. I'm a little bit nervous to test it out because I don't have any, backup hearts just in case it's terrible. I'm going to have to go farming, but it can potentially be really crazy. Right now, we're sitting at 20% critical strike chance, and with all of our passives active at once, we'll probably be up to like 40%-ish on a target. So it could be really good. I just haven't had the guts to try it out. Right now, I'm playing it a little bit safe. Moving on, more physical damage, critical strike chance, damage to crowd control. I wish I had health on here. I don't. It is what it is. We're just trying to roll. Rolling jewelry in this season is an absolute nightmare. But we're just figuring it out. Probably the most important heart you could probably obtain, other than your Wrathful, obviously, is going to be the heart right here that reduces the damage you take by a flat amount. It's a brutal heart. It reduces your damage taken by 18% of incoming damage, and it's actually suppressed. But when you use a subterfuge skill, which is your smoke grenade, all that damage that's suppressed explodes in a ginormous area. Just from this giving us near 20% damage reduction is ridiculous. It allows us to have so much survivability, combining this with our neck piece, with our pants, with our chest, with our gems, with our stats, with our Paragon Board. We are so freaking tanky. We could just stand there and just tank so many mobs at once. I'll show you some clips on the screen now of us even being crowd controlled, but we're able to just sit there and face tank 4, 5, 6 elites at once. The butcher on us at once. It is insane. It is absolutely mandatory. Make sure you pick this up. Moving on to our weapons. Our first one that's really, really strong for this build is the Vengeful Legendary Aspect. 3% critical strike chance, stacking up to 3 times when you hit someone that's vulnerable. Very, very strong. Obviously, for the stats, you want a sword instead of the dagger. The critical strike chance and damage is really, really good this season. Obviously, for the stats, you want critical strike damage, chance, core skill damage, damage to vulnerable, stuff like that. This isn't a great sword by all means. It's just a really high item level for my level. So an 801 is ridiculous. And then moving on, we have the Lich Blade here. Stacking up to 3 times, up to 30% damage. It can get out of control when you're just standing still, inner sight, twisting blades. I've done some crazy numbers before, and I've been testing it out. It's okay. There just really isn't that many other options out there for this specific build. You have the Shadow Clone one right here, which is your Shadow Clone also mimics your imbuements, and then that increases the Shadow Clone damage by 12%. I mean, there's just not great options out there. So I'm testing this out for now. It's okay. It's not bad. Give it a shot. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, stat priorities, legendary aspects, literally everything here in the most simple format, Mobilytics, in the link in the description. Go check it out. Moving on to our abilities. This is very, very important. We're going to go through this very quick to not waste so much of your time. We're going to go Puncture. We're going to get the vulnerability here. We're going to go 5 out of 5 Twisting Blades, and we're grabbing the Dazed on the Twisting Blades. Do not grab the cooldown reduction. That's the biggest bait in Diablo 4. Everyone thinks you're supposed to just automatically grab the cooldown reduction. Do not. The Daze is so strong. Anyone you fight, they're literally dazed 24/7, and they can't attack you. It's so broken and so strong. Very, very good. I do not grab Siphoning Strikes anymore. It got nerfed to the dirt. Not only do I have to crit, I have the lucky hit on this. It's too much. It's too random. I took it away. We're taking Sturdy for the 3 out of 3. We're taking 3 out of 3 Weapon Mastery. Dash instead of Shadow Step because our survivability is through the roof. And even if we get CC'd, our healing and damage mitigation is out of control. So we're going for the more mobility here. Cooldown reduction on Dash with the Methodical Dash. We're grabbing Concussive for the big damage. Now, because we're dazing everyone so much, when you critically strike a dazed enemy, you knock them down, and that procs this right here, Concussive, 12% critical strike chance. It's through the roof damage. And we're also getting rapid gambits 1 point. So our cooldown on our evade comes up constantly when we daze an enemy, which is every single attack with Twisting Blades. So we have infinite dazes, infinite critical strike chances. It's very, very strong. After that, we're grabbing Smoke Grenade. This ability is so strong on Rogue. It just literally makes enemies not be able to attack you. I have 5 points into Smoke Grenade because of an item that I have, which dazes them for 6.5 seconds. It is broken crowd control duration. No one can attack me, and even if they do, they're not dealing any damage. We have the cooldown reduction on countering Smoke Grenade here. It's just fantastic. 3 out of 3 Exploit, 3 out of 3 Malice for the big damage. Obviously, Shadow Imbuement, we're going for the vulnerability instead of the 12% damage increase to non-physical damage. We're dealing a lot of physical damage, not so much non-physical, so we're opting for that. 2 out of 3 Consuming Shadows for the energy regen. And then Frigid Finesse, very, very mandatory in this build. 15% increased damage to chilled enemy, which is going to be 24/7 with your Penitent Greaves on your boots. 30% damage to frozen enemies, which can happen if you proc, your cold imbuements on your weapon with your Wrathful Heart. Very, very strong. We're picking up Shadow Clone for the huge damage windows. It may not be the best option, but God almighty, do I love pressing Shadow Imbuement going unstoppable. Inner Sight window paired with your Shadow Clone. Man, you are dealing so much damage so fast. You're destroying groups of elites in a few seconds. Very strong. And then to finish off the talent tree, we have 10% energy regeneration while we're moving, and then haste for the movement speed and attack speed as well. And then momentum, which is so strong. 20% damage reduction, 30% energy regen, 15% movement speed. Man, to be honest, control glyph with this build, if you get your temerity boots, is just so strong. Everyone's going to be crowd controlled, 50% damage. And also, I mean, when you daze enemies with your Twisting Blades, they're considered crowd controlled, so it deals a lot of damage. I would say rock this for sure if you get temerity. We're going to move on up here. We're going to go to the Cheap Shot board. Cheap Shot with crowd control. It's just so strong, man. I mean, there's really as simple as that. If you have consistent crowd control in your build for Rogue, I mean, Cheap Shot is just the way to go almost 99% of the time. There are some other options here. I do really like the No Witnesses board as a whole. Critical strike damage, chance to execute non-injured elites, healing, defense. It's a good board. And the actual legendary node, 30% increased damage to your ultimate skill. It's a pretty good board. I even think Eldritch Bounty could be pretty good too, with your shadow damage. It could be pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. I would say Cheap Shot as well as No Witnesses being probably the strongest boards for this. Then when it gets down the line, focus on maybe, the Exploit Weakness board for the vulnerability damage. Out of control nodes here. Damage reduction for vulnerability, damage, movement speed. It'd be very, very good. Don't forget, check the link in the bio for the Paragon board. Tying this all together, man, you deal stupid damage. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, literally go to the Mobalytics link, copy everything down A to Z. You will not be disappointed. Let's get into some final gameplay footage. We're going to make sure before we start any crazy nightmare encounters, we're going to activate our potion. Today, we have our attack speed bonus. It's good for XP, damage, whatever. Make sure you have your potion active. With our rotation, we're going to make sure we activate Shadow Imbuement before we even engage in combat. So once we start, we'll have another Shadow Imbuement ready, locked, and loaded. We only use Shadow Clone when things get a little bit out of hand with maybe 3 elites, 4, 5 at once. So save it until then. It's very simple rotations. You're going to run up to somebody, Twisting Blades a few times, run right by him, dash through as many enemies as follows, and your Twisting Blades will come with you and destroy everybody. We don't really take much damage. We have a lot of self-healing. If you want to even look on the bottom left yourself, look at our health throughout this whole thing. It shouldn't drop down that low at all. I very rarely even have to use potion at one point because of us being so tanky all the time. So I'm just going to literally go through here. And as you can see, our health is just healing non-stop 24/7. And if we combine that with our potion healing, we're just not dropping down at all, man. It's very simple. Obviously, as you can see from the clips, I'm usually running 15, 20 levels above me. But this is just for a breakdown scenario. I don't want to get too distracted and mess up anything. As you can see, we're throwing our smoke grenade down on enemies that look like they can hurt us. So we have a lot of enemies here. We're going to hopefully not get CC'd too much, because this is a lot of bullshit going on. Gonna dash through all of them. Activate our inner sight. Crush them. Very simple. Just literally holding down right click, man. Very, very straightforward rotation. Very easy. Very fun. Super, super strong for Rogue this season. We're going to activate inner sight. And we're just going to smash all of these mobs here. Our health isn't dropping. Everyone around us is dying. And it is an annihilation, man. Absolute annihilation. Okay, now we're about to fight our boss. Remember, activate Shadow Imbuement before you even engage. You want to try to, stagger them and try to get them in that full stagger window. I mean, usually they die before that even happens, but if you can, I mean, go nuts. But let's just keep it going here. We're just going to activate our Shadow Clone on our Shadow Imbuement, dealing tons of damage here. And this guy is also 12 levels ahead of me, man, so don't forget that. We have our second inner sight window, and the second he gets staggered, it is absolutely over. Very, very, very strong build. We're mobile. We're super, super tanky. Insane burst in AoE damage. Incredible healing. I don't really see a weakness with this build other than maybe getting CC chained, but I mean, you stack a couple gems with you stack a couple topaz gems. I mean, you could be fine for that. Overall, though, this is an insane build. Do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Mobilytics link in the description below. It literally gives you every single thing A to Z for this build. Do not forget to check it out. I want to thank you all so much for watching the video. Absolute pleasure for making content for you all. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.